The absolute worst thing. There we go. Oh, we gotta go. We just lost 52. Got a wax cake.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos of memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
One was when he was in high school and we lived in St. George together. Him and Doug decided they were going to start rappelling, and they rappelled off this big mountain behind Dad's house. The next day, Doug and Jim were on the front page of the St. George newspaper that showed a picture of him rappelling.
I'm running by, and my mom had her legs sticking out, trying to give her ankle some rest. And Jimmy come trucking along there and smacked it. Almost tripped over. Well, we found out real quick that my mom's ankle wasn't that bad, because she popped up, and the first thing she did was grab a bat, and she's hobbling back and forth, trying to catch Jimmy.
Whenever she'd get out the ironing board to iron, Jimmy wanted a turn. He wanted to take a turn to iron. And he would be right by her side. So Mom and Dad, they bought this cute little ironing board and a little iron. And so when Mom would iron, he would get out his and stand there by her.
Your expertise in board games.
The three of us would go, and Jimmy would be, Jimmy, it's your turn. Oh, mine already?
You were always slow to react. You didn't pay attention. We'd land on your property, Bob and I would, and we'd just look at each other. We knew we landed on your property, and you'd just keep talking about something else. And
Jim is such a stickler about the details. He never embellishes or stretches a story. If he tells he walked a mile, he didn't walk an inch further. He just states facts. Obviously, I jest.
Jim has always had a love for cars, and especially for anything that had an engine. And from the time he was really little, he knew all the car sounds. I mean, he could rev an engine and screech brakes and crash cars, and it was always really fun, and we laughed a lot when we watched him play with his Matchbox cars and any other racetrack or car thing he had growing up.
But when he was a kid, he was just the opposite of us, and he was always kind and considerate and quiet, and the rest of the whole family, including Diane Kath, by the way, we're always kind of loud and voiced our opinion.
He and I probably spent the most time together in all the many places that we lived. The one thing that was consistent is Jim was always working on cars and always keeping our cars, Dad's car's always running.
Jim is genuine. To be genuine. He's real. He's doesn't put on airs. He doesn't have to be the showboat. He is the salt of the earth. And he's as good as it gets.
Stay up late. I think that comes from Dad, or it reminds me of Dad staying up late, because Dad and I would stay up late working on cars a lot.
But I mean, obviously, first and foremost, my job. I honestly, I wouldn't have my career, my job, if it wasn't for you. On my way, I mean, there's a lot of things that remind me of you on my way to work. Passing by a school bus, I'm thinking of you. Obviously, as I drive through Main Street and I pass McDonald's, I'm wondering if you're there getting breakfast.
Neil Diamond is one of the biggest. He introduced me to Neil Diamond very early on in my childhood, and I have been obsessed ever since. Neil Diamond is definitely our number one. I'd also say Pepto-Bismol is a big thing. I can't think of a time where I haven't seen that on his nightstand. And
one thing I do now that definitely reminds me of my dad is I'll always catch myself kind of exaggerating, and I think that's something that we always used to make fun of my dad. When we, like growing up, it's just, he always exaggerates stories and we always give him crap for it. But I definitely will catch myself sometimes, like, I don't know, upping numbers or making stuff sound worse than it really is, just so people care more.
This handsome face. For teaching me about cars. I love cars. I know Dad loves cars, and I'm so grateful that he took the time to teach me about cars, because I love knowing what I do about cars.
I'd thank him for being the most amazing dad in every way possible. I am always so grateful for how much he has been there for me in all times of my life. Us kids know that Dad always calls.
One thing I'd love to thank my dad for is just taking the time to be with us. My dad was so busy running a business all grown up, but I never felt without his love and his time.
I would thank him really for his example of serving. He, as a kid, it would really annoy you and annoy me, just because of, he would always drag us along to whatever project, he signed us up for. But now, growing up and being on the receiving end of it, I start mowing my lawn. You're here within 5 minutes with your own lawnmower to help along. And, if I need to move, you were there with the truck and trailer first thing.
One thing I admire most about how I was raised was my dad's definitely a peacemaker and is just kind. I think that's one of my dad's strongest skills, is that even when people are mean and nasty to him, he's just able to be kind.
My dad is the most selfless person I know, and you might hear that a lot tonight, but it's true.
Between raising us to have, you know, good morals and serve and love others, teach us about God and the gospel.
He really taught me the value of hard work. You know, through that is just learning, you know, your work ethic, the value of everything you work for.
Jim is my rescuer. He has bailed me out of so many issues, especially with broken down cars and needing help in any way. He's just helped our family so much.
He always took me wherever. If he was going out with friends bowling or going to ride go-karts that he built or whatever it was, or just going to the convenience store and getting snacks, Jim was always generous.
But Jim is always there to help. He will give you the shirt off of his back. He will do anything for you. He's a hard worker.
But the one thing I love, the top 5, is he's happy and he's positive. He has a great outlook on life, and I love that.
But he was always such a good brother to where he'd do anything for you and stick by you. And we had a lot of good times.
I think the biggest thing is my dad's sense of life. He always finds some way to make a hard situation fun.
Really how present you were in our lives. Memories as a kid that we'd have of you playing with us. I remember even just when you'd have a chore, me and Hayden would be, you know, you go mow the lawn, me and Hayden would have our plastic lawnmowers right behind you.
Really showed how important it is to spend time with family and friends. That's something that I feel like I'll pass down to my kids, is teaching them the importance of spending time with your family and kids.
That just putting other people's needs before our own. But looking back now, that was such a valuable lesson because he really did put other people's needs above his own and was always looking to serve other people.
I drink champagne with kings and queens. The politicians praise my name. But those are someone else's dreams, the pitfalls of the man I became. For years and years, I chased their cheers, a crazy speed of always needing more. But when I stop and see you here, I remember who all this was for. And from now on, these eyes will not be blinded by the lights. From now on, watch, wait until tomorrow starts tonight. It starts tonight. And let the promise in me. friend.